Today, I was not going to do anything in music. I was not going to practice anything. I was not going to touch the keyboard or the guitar. But music is such an important part of me. I could not help it. I could not resist on doing something. I don't even know what I'm going to tackle, what I'm going to practice, but we'll see. You know, it's when I say music is an important part of me, is that it is true. It is very, very true. It's just like a magnet to me. And everywhere I go, music is with me. Whatever I do, music is involved. Music is involved when I'm eating, when I'm sleeping, when I'm running, when I'm walking. You know, music is within me. So one thing, let's see, something I can. There's a subject I always wanted to revisit, because sometimes we learned something, and then down the line we don't, we kind of neglected a little bit, and then it pays to go back and revisit it, whatever subject it may be. A subject that I always want to revisit, to review, is reharmonization of approach notes, approach tones. So what is the difference between target tones and approach tones? A target tone is either a chord tone, a chord note, or an accented note, or the extensions of chord tones. So, for example, in the key, if I have a triad, C major triad, for example, C, E, G, C, E, G, so C is a chord tone, C is a target tone, E is a target tone, and G is a target tone, because they are chord tones, and also their extension, whatever extensions or tensions that you play over the C triad, whatever extensions you play are also target notes, target tones. So those notes you can reharmonize them in the normal diatonic way by putting in in your by following the procedures in the circle of fifths. So so it's not really complicated to reharmonize those diatonic diatonic notes in the key, in the major key, or in the major keys, or minor keys, and so on, because they are diatonic to the keys. But when it comes to the approach notes, however, it is a different ball game, because it depends on the nature of the approach note you are dealing with. However, what is an approach note? An approach note is a note that is short, and then it leads in stepwise. It leads by stepwise into a target note, which could be a chord, a tone, or an extension. So the approach note leads to a target tone, which can be a chord tone or an extension. And the way you harmonize the way you harmonize on the approach notes, it's different from the way you harmonize on the diatonic notes or tones. Also the target notes are long. They are long notes, as opposed to the approach notes, which are short notes. So what are the characteristics of the approach notes? Well, an approach note is usually 1/4 note or less, because when you play it, you're not gonna play it for a long time. So it can be 1/4 note or less. Also, an approach note leads in by stepwise to a target note or chord tone or extension. So that is when I say stepwise, that means this is very important, to say that stepwise, because that means the approach note leads to the target note, not by leap, but by step, or not by leaping, but by step. On the keyboard, if you play C, and you skip D, you play E. That's leaping. That's not step. You're not playing by stepwise. But if you play C and you play D, that's the next note. You play the C and then you play either C sharp or D, that you are playing uh, by step. You are playing by step, not by leap. So it is very important to remember that the approach approach note leads to the target note, because the approach note is not a chord tone. Okay, it leads to the chord tone by stepwise motion. Stepwise motion. Okay, so sometimes I think musicians can get confused when it comes to passing tones, passing chords, and then auxiliary approach tone, stuff like that. Approach tones have patterns. Okay, one of them is passing approach tones, and another one is auxiliary or neighbor approach tones, and there's another one which is called unprepared approach tones. The first one, passing approach tone, is a note that connects two notes of different pitch by stepwise motion, not leap, stepwise. Passing tone is a note that connects two notes or two tones of different pitch by stepwise motion. For example, you can say E, for example, E. Okay, you have E, which is a chord tone in the C triad, C major triad. E is a chord tone, but F is not. F is not a chord tone. So F is an approach tone, an approach note. In this case, it is a passing approach note that leads to the chord tone or target tone G. So you can play something like you're going to connect. You want to connect E and G. And then the way you're going to do it is by using the approach tone F, okay, exactly, by using the connecting approach tone F. So you can start with E. Okay, there's something like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Okay, say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is the connection. That's up, and then you come down. So that's passing tone, passing approach tone. Okay, the next one is auxiliary, also what, aka neighbor approach note. A neighbor, an auxiliary or neighbor approach note moves away from okay, let me put it this way. An auxiliary or neighbor, aka neighbor passing tone or note, moves and returns to the same pitch. Okay, moves away and return to the same pitch. Okay, let me put it in stepwise motion. Remember, stepwise motion, not leap motion. So let me repeat that. An auxiliary, also called neighbor tone or note, moves away and returns to the same pitch or note in stepwise motion. So let's try that. Let's try with I'm gonna play, okay, let's play D, for example. Okay, D, which is in the C triad. D is not a chord tone, so D is an approach tone. Okay, so it's going to lead into a chord tone, okay, or tension. So, but remember that we already played passing tone. Now we're playing auxiliary or neighbor tone. Neighbor tone moves away and returns to the same pitch or note. Let's do it with D. Okay, we're gonna say D. Okay, we go D. Let's see. You see? D, C, B. I start with D. I move away from D, going down to C, and I return to D. Okay, so D right here is a neighbor or auxiliary approach note, not a passing note. Okay, so another example is like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I start with G. See, I move up to A and I come back to G. Okay, or you can start with well, I'm sure you understand that. So, all right, so. neighbor note, neighbor approach note. There's another one that is called uh, this one is not very popular, but it is good to know. It is called unprepared, unprepared, uh, unprepared approach note or tone. Excuse me. This one is when an approach note is preceded either by a leap, a rest, or the same pitch. Okay, for example, if you can have a C. Okay, you got C here. Okay, and then no, let's say you got F. F is a F sharp. Let's say F sharp. F sharp. Okay, that is going to be that. Of course, it's a pass in the C, in the key of C major. F sharp is going to be a passing tone. So if I can play, if I play C above F sharp, and then I play C, and then I go down, play F sharp, it's a big leap. So that's why you call, in this case, this F sharp is unprepared approach note or tone. Okay, like this, like this. Oh, oh. See, leap to play F, C, big leap to play F sharp, and then leading to a chord tone which is G. Also, the the other element is if it is preceded by a rest. Okay, let's say I have D flat, for example, which is C sharp. Okay, I can say a rest. Okay, a quarter note rest. I can start. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I can say 1. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See, I play. There's a rest before the C sharp. Okay. So let me play that again so I can lead the C sharp down to C, which is a chord tone. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's what I meant. That's what I was trying to play. Okay. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And the other one is easy. Preceded the approach tone is preceded by the same pitch. Okay. Okay. Now, it is easy to harmonize the diatonic notes, but to harmonize the approach notes, it's to do so, you're going to have to use some special maneuvers to in order to create the sounds that will fit within your diatonic, within the diatonic system. But there are at least three ways, I would say four ways that I know of that you can reharmonize those approach notes. The first one is called chromatic approach. The second one is dominant approach. Well, let me put it another way. The first one is chromatic approach. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Approach for reharmonization. The second one is a dominant approach for reharmonization. The third one is parallel approach for reharmonization, and then the fourth one is diatonic approach for reharmonization of the approach notes. Okay, so but to finish this video, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you how to reharmonize chromatically. First of all, we know that a chromatic approach is when the approach note, okay, leads to the target. When the approach note leads to the target note, which is a chord tone or extension, by half steps. Okay. An example. Let's say you're playing the C triad. Okay. A little volume. That's a C, E, G. Okay, now you want to move to C major 6. So you're going to play, so your target chord is going to be E, G, A. Okay? So if you play C right there, that is C major 6. So you're playing C major triad, and you want to move, you want to play A in order to play C major 6. So you're gonna have to make a move, okay? But you want to play the approach notes that lead you to the known chord C major 6. So what you do, you look at the notes that you have in the target chord, which is C major 6. I got E, I got G, and I got A. Okay, so if I were playing C major triad, okay, let's see, yeah. let's say I was playing, okay, let's say I was playing C major C major 6, but with the root, you know, in the at the bottom, not the root, with the 6 at the bottom of the chord. Now I'm going to play the root, not the root. I'm going to play the 6 at the top. So when it comes to chromatic approach, leading you to the target chord, you're going to play. You're going to move in half step, okay, leading to the target chord. If you're going, let's say you're going to in the new chord, you're going to have A, right? So you're going to have, well, for now, what we're going to do, we're going to reharmonize chromatically, and we do the rest in other videos, like a dominant, parallel, and diatonic. When you harmonize chromatically, each voice moves in each voice from your present chord. Each voice, each note moves a half step into the corresponding note or voice of your target chord by stepwise in the same direction as the melody, either up or down. That means your new chord, if it is E, G, and A, so the way you're going to move from, if you're playing C, let's say you're playing C major 6 with 6 as your first note, but now you want to create a different voicing by playing this 6 at the top. So you're going to move, okay? So what is your target note? Your first target note is A. So chromatically, you're gonna play A flat. Okay? What is your next target note? Target note down, that's a G. So to lead to G, you're gonna play G flat. And then what is your next target note? It's gonna be E. So E flat will lead to E. Okay? So, and then what's gonna happen? You go into all those notes, the flat and the sharp, the chromatic movement, the chromatic move that you just made is going to resolve a half step, A, which is, and then C, E, and then G. That's C major 6. Now I am going to move. I want to play I want to play I want to use the chromatic. I want to approach that chord, that no, that chord chromatically. So I got to play. If you're playing, for example, let's say you're playing. You're playing C major. Triad. C major triad, right here, and then you want to play C major 6. Okay, that means you're going to play the note A. Okay, all right. So now let's see. Now what you can do now, if you want to move to your target note now is the A. And the way you do it, when you go into move chromatically to a new chord, each voice in your current chord, each note will move, half step into the corresponding note in your target chord by stepwise motion in the same direction as the melody. So that means if I'm going to play, let's say, if I'm going to play this chord, which is C major 9, and I want to make the progression more interesting. I want to play the chromatic. I want to use the chromatic approach to lead to the chord, to the target note and target chord, which is A major 6. I need to approach each note of the note chord, by half step. So A, half step below it is A flat, and G, half step below G, that's G flat, and half step below E, okay, that's E flat.